All right, guys, welcome to the Batcave. This is a space that I've been working on for a long time. I've had, several different interruptions and whatnot to to stop me from finishing this job, but it's getting pretty close right now. It's really close to the end of the year, but I wanted to show off, what I've been working on, in my spare time. So this is the new space, right? We moved out of our last house in the summer. This is our new space. This is a temporary house, so that I'm going to go ahead and tell you guys that right now. It's not a forever home. We are going to build our forever home very shortly. So that's going to be that home theater is going to kick ass. So just stick around to that. But the space we're in right now, there's a lot of different things that you guys don't understand. You would probably do it different. I've seen all the comments. I've heard all of the critiques. This isn't your space, so this is what I've done with it. If you guys don't like it, it is what it is. But this is a converted game room, right? So the house does have a home theater built into it, but it's just too small. With a full 9.2.6, you want, a bigger space to achieve that. So if you're going with a big screen too, it makes sense to get a bigger room. So, or, vice versa, you need to figure out how much screen you can have in your space. But this is a 22.5 by 15 by 8 foot ceiling space. So I'm not sure what that is in meters. Look it up. But that's basically what we're working with. So a lot of different things have changed. So if you were paying attention in that recap that I did earlier this weekend, this was open to the rest of the house. So there wasn't anything there. Obviously this was there. But if you look at that crease over here, that's where the room would end. And then this is open to the rest of the house. So we put in a little wall right here to help shield, this space from the rest of the house. The second video we did was to create this symmetrical hump. Over here, there is a fireplace down below, and we couldn't really get rid of this. Obviously, it's there with the house. It doesn't make sense to delete something and just have an exposed pipe there. So this was added to create a little symmetry in the space. Also gives it a little bit of a focal point for your eyes. So we painted those walls. That was the next video we did. So the paint was next. It's all flat paint. So you will see a little bit of a sheen in there. I'll explain in a second. But all this is flat paint. It's called improbable. And this one's improbable, which is the gray. And then this one's onyx, which is the black. So as you can see, it kind of defeats the purpose of me even painting this, that, and that black, because it still does have a sheen to it. I wanted to not have that happen. That's why I wanted to paint it flat black. And all this is flat paint, right? But the idea behind it is, if you guys don't know, if you're buying paint with primer in it already, you're probably going to have that sheen to it. So don't follow the same mistake that I did and get paint that already has the primer in it. You're probably just better off asking the guys there and making sure that it doesn't have primer, so that you do absolutely get flat paint and it's not going to have any reflective materials. If you're looking at this, it looks exaggerated on camera, so it doesn't look that bad in person, but I am going to address that pretty soon. But the room's not perfect. There are other things that I'm going to be changing as well. I need to get the panels in here for the acoustic properties, as well as the sound traps and diffusers. But that's coming in a later video. We have the lighting that was probably very unpopular in that video series I did. That was another video that we tackled, because this light didn't do jack. Obviously, I knew I was going to be filming in here, so I needed a decent amount of light. And I decided to go with these. They're purpose-driven, kind of fits the whole idea with building the Batcave, or with the Batcave, because they're kind of like orange, kind of tungsten looking, and it's kind of cool. It gives you that little tube type feel. It's industrial. They're called squirrel cage, lights. But we also have that metallic pipe up there. Kind of goes with the Batcave vibe. Not very popular with a lot of people. Who really cares? I mean, it's not like it's going to be there forever. So that probably will be changing. But yeah, so that's basically getting you up to speed on where we went from there. Next thing I think we did was the paladin lens was an addition. You guys haven't seen that yet, but this thing makes all the difference. If you have a 2.35 or 2.40 screen, if you have a 16 by 9 screen, you probably don't need it. You're probably wasting your money. But if you have a JV, or if you have a 4K projector that's native 4K, and you want to have your 2.35, 2.40 screen, then you're not getting your full resolution on the screen, and a lot of people don't realize that. Well, I mean, I want a 4K projector, and I want it to play 4K all the time. So that's why you have to spend more money, or get a projector that has a native 235 2.40 chip or reflective device in it, and then you will have that. And newsflash, guys, they're not cheap. Barco is the least expensive one that I've seen, and it goes for commas. So just be prepared for that. So this is the workaround. The glass isn't cheap. I mean, it is what it is. I mean, I'm unapologetic about how expensive this thing is, but you definitely get your full resolution. You increase your brightness and everything about that out of it. So I'll do a full-on review of that later on. That isn't the idea behind this video, but I just wanted to show a general overview on what we did and why we did it. And we'll do a couple demos in just a little bit. Next thing I did was add this rack. So this is a massive freaking rack. My last house had a pretty big rack too. Well, I guess no, it didn't. It had a pretty small rack. Anyway, so this is a big busty rack, right? It's tall, it's hefty, it's beefy. So this is a 42 RU, the tallest one that they make. This is a strong signature rack, and it's 30 inches deep. So just real quick, let's show you a couple of things that are in there. Up top, we have AC infinity fan pointing the exhaust outwards to the top. We have the Emotiva RMC1, incredible sounding DACs in there for home theater, as well as 2-channel audio. Down here is the Lumagen. If you guys are looking into a Lumagen, you guys realize that it does dynamic tone mapping, which is DTM. It does no black bars, so if it does nonlinear stretch. So if you never want to see a black bar ever again on a projector screen, you never have to see it ever again. And it doesn't do it by just simply zooming in like your Oppo does. It does it by some really clever type of algorithms and stuff like that. So lots of advanced processing in this one. So it does that. You can do advanced color lookup tables, LUTs. You can put those on there. So advanced calibration, color calibration, and all these fancy bells and whistles that make your picture just scream off of the screen. So that's the reason to get one of those. I'm going to be doing a full-on review of that one a little bit later on. Highly recommend grabbing one of those if you guys haven't already. They do come with a price, so be warned. Next thing we have is the Watt Box. This is a power conditioner, helps out with, your power conditioning. All my non-essential stuff is hooked up to here. It does do a decent amount of cleaning, but I mainly got this for the lights because the lights are pretty cool and you can angle them and you can make them dim, turn them off. But it's basically shining a beam onto the Oppo 205. Main reason I got the Oppo is because of the DACs that are in it, as well as with the Lumagen. If you're using it in conjunction, you can set it to a source direct mode, which basically means no processing on the videos done. And it just lets this one do all the brains and figure all the processing out, which is great. So obviously I had the Panasonic in there before, which is great, if you don't have a Lumagen. But if you do, you're kind of crossing the streams there. You don't necessarily need the advanced processing. And that's the main reason why I switched. This was supposed to be the gaming shelf. Didn't necessarily turn out that way. Kind of just turned into an accessory type of shelf. We have the Philips hub back there, Lutron cassetta hub, a wireless access point, as well as the hub for the Harmony and the Apple TV 4K. So all this stuff in here is, taped, double-sided Velcro taped. So it's not going anywhere, which is really cool. This one is because I didn't know where I needed to put it just yet. But that's really cool design behind that. If I do put the Xbox up here, maybe because I can still put the Xbox here, the standard one, but whenever the Series X gets in here, I'll have to figure out some sort of solution for that. But fans, huge proponent of fans, guys. Your electronics will live a lot longer if you guys put fans on them, right? So let's just go ahead and turn this thing on just real quick. So we are doing some demos in the space coming up shortly. But I just wanted to show the startup sequence that's going on in here. So AC Infinity fans, these will save your bacon if you guys have amplifiers, even though that this one's Class H and it doesn't necessarily get super hot. Having fans on your equipment will help it live longer. And longer equipment's happier equipment and less distortion as well. Heat causes a distortion. Heat decreases your lifespan of your electronics. So 7-channel amplifier from Audio Control. This is the Savoy. Use that for the heights. This is used for the surrounds and rear surrounds. This is the Parasound A52 Plus 5-channel amplifier. This is a Parasound A51 5-channel amplifier again. Basically, this is the older version of this one, and it has a lot more beef to it, so highly recommend grabbing one of those if you guys can. 5-channel amplifier running the left, center, and right, as well as the front wides. Power conditioners down here, split by some blank plates too. You don't want to leave, extra space. Well, you do want to leave extra space, but you don't want to have things all willy-nilly in there. So blank plates are good, helps control the flow of air so that everything is purposefully driven. The air sucks through this way and then goes out up top. And then I have another fan over here that goes in from the side that sucks in. The one up top blows it all out. But that's the idea behind that. So down here we have the Panamaxes, 5400, 5300. They're identical in almost every single regard, except for I think this one has one stage more on the power cleaning. And then it also has voltage regulation, so it'll spit out a constant voltage. They advertise that it's supposed to make your components, happier and live longer and, have healthy kids. but who knows? I just got it because I think it's cool looking and I needed another one for my space. We have the Arachnus switch, which is 16 port, and it helps hardwire everything in the system. And then we have a UPS from Wattbox down here. This is a must. If you guys have a projector and you haven't looked into it, I don't recommend plugging your projector into a wall. If you can help it. If you're in a coastal area and your power goes out very often, or just sometimes, highly recommend plugging your projector into a universal or uninterrupted power supply, which is a UPS. This is a battery backup. So whenever the power goes out, your projector is going to turn off if you don't have one of these. It's bad news for a projector's bulb if you don't heat cycle or you turn it off and it goes through its proper shutdown procedure, because it'll decrease the bulb, it'll make it dimmer, or it'll decrease the bulb life, it'll make it dimmer, and then obviously, you're getting into expensive territory if you have to keep replacing bulbs. So that's why I recommend grabbing a UPS if you can help it. If the power does go out, you can physically go over, your projector will keep running, and you can physically go over and press off on the remote. Your projector will go through its proper shutdown procedure, it'll live longer, it'll be happier, it's not gonna get dim a lot sooner than later. So that's just something, that's a little bit of advice I like to give you guys. Okay, so up top we have the JVC RS3000, also known as the NX9, and the Paladin DCR lens. This is from Panamorph. This is an anamorphic lens, and you're getting your full resolution onto your screen if you have a 235 2.40 screen. This is a 144 from diagonal to diagonal. Screen Innovation, Zero Edge Pro, Black Diamond 1.4 with the back LED kit. So this is, as you can see back there, it has the LEDs spill off onto the walls. But this is not a necessity anymore, since this is an ambient light rejecting screen. This is a premium ambient light rejecting screen. You don't necessarily need it in a room that's light controlled, as well as the walls are painted. And so for speakers, we have SVS almost everywhere, right? So if you guys were paying attention to that last video, I did have some Atlantic Technology speakers up front. I was doing a review for the company and just basically testing them out and just getting some more seat time with them. But those are, they were temporary. So we have the SVS for the front wide, right and left, as well as the left, center, and right. This is the Ultra Towers over here, Ultra Center. We have it on a hand-built entertainment stand, which is kind of like just a shelf, but it's on some Oralex to kind of kink it up a little bit to fire at your main listening position. And there's a subwoofer back there that is Atlantic Technologies again, so that's not really used. It's still just there for review purposes. And then we have the PB16 Ultra up here up front. Don't worry, I'm going to be putting something on top of there. I never see any reflections anyway whenever I'm watching a movie, whenever you're down here. But I will be covering that up, so I don't want to hear any comments about that. Obviously, I know that it's reflective, and I should have gone with something that's not reflective, but whatever. Back here, we have the Prime Pinnacles for the surrounds, and then we have the Atlantic Technologies again for the rear surround. I have some SVS Ultra surrounds that I could put on the wall, but just for right now, I didn't want to put them in just yet. So I tried getting another pair of speakers in here to fit back in the back, but there was supply chain issues, so we couldn't necessarily work that out. So I mean, it's not all SVS, but it's pretty close. Bowers & Wilkins are just here they were my rear surrounds originally, but these were just used for 2-channel audio while I was setting up the room. Back here we have the last PB16 Ultra, as well as the Wattbox surge protector over there that feeds into the back of this thing. And you guys know I'm a huge proponent of protecting your gear, so have everything you can plugged into a surge protector. If you can help it, if that doesn't bother you, if you guys want to risk your gear getting damaged, I mean, you could definitely do that, but I'm of a mind, if you spent money on it, you might as well protect it. And I know SVS says not to plug your gear into any power conditioning stuff, but I'd rather be safe than sorry. So I think that's roughly it. The only other thing that we got in the room that's the biggest change was the carpet. Got this one from Wayfair. It was the only one in its size that was, you know, relatively affordable. I didn't want to, you know, go for broke on a freaking rug, so it serves its purpose, looks cool, and it's pretty big. Over here we have the Valencia seats. These are the Tuscany models, and they're pretty dope. So we have the diamond stitching on them. They're extremely comfortable. And these aren't the super soft versions, because they do have those as well. Light up LEDs, you can turn them on and off if you want. And then you have the LEDs down below. Obviously, if you're watching a movie, you may not want to leave them on. But yeah, pretty cool system so far. Now I'm gonna jump into some demos for you guys. I know that you guys are just here to not hear me talking, to hear the audio demos. So I want to do a quick rundown, show you what the space was, why I did things, specifically the reason why I did them. And now let's have some fun. We're gonna jump into those demos, but I really appreciate you guys for watching. You guys have been extremely positive and extremely supportive over the last several months of me setting the system up. Thanks so much to all the positive comments and all the support. Last thing, so let's just check this out real quick. Let's bust these lights off and just show you the piece de resistance to the room. So you get the bat symbol up there. All right, so last thing I wanted to let you guys know about, if you want to grab any of this stuff that you see in this theater tour, please don't hesitate to reach out to my buddies over at Dream Media Home Theater. They'll get you set straight. I'll leave their information down in the description. Also, if you want some of the home theater renovation type stuff that I talked about earlier in this video series, you could reach out to my buddy Cameron over at Insane AV. Well, that's all I got. Make sure you like, favorite, share, and subscribe, and let's get into these demos.
Is she serious?
Control, this is Juggernaut 3. Report, wait, abort! Abort!
What the hell's that?
Pirates, keep driving. I'll take care of it.
These guys locked us! Get him on the front! You should have left me in prison!
Bye.